Tekken 5 is the fifth main installment in the popular Tekken series. It also marks the 10th anniversary of the series. It was first released for the arcades in 2004, running on the Namco System 256 arcade board, and later ported to PlayStation 2 in North America on February 24, 2005, with the Japanese and European releases following in March 31 and June 24, 2005, respectively, which added the Ghost feature. The game removes several major gameplay changes introduced in the previous game, including uneven stage terrain, in favor of a faster gameplay akin to the older games in the series. It is also the first game in the series to feature the ability to customize characters with accessories, clothing, and other aesthetic items purchased with in-game currency. The game was upgraded to Tekken 5.1, which had mostly balanced changes to the gameplay, and later Tekken 5, Dark Resurrection, which added new characters, features, and customizations in addition to gameplay rebalancing. Tekken 5 was a major critical and commercial success, averaging 89.20% from GameRankings and 88/100 from Metacritic, and has sold 6 million copies as of July 2009. A sequel, Tekken 6, was released on 2007 in the arcades and later ported to the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 in 2009. Gameplay: Tekken 5 is credited with taking the series back to its roots. It incorporates a faster, more fluid fighting system, improved graphics, returning characters, and some of the Tekken series' trademark infinite stages. New to Tekken 5 is the crush system, which affects the vulnerability of a character while they attack. For example, a move with jumping properties, such as a hopkick, will be completely invulnerable during most of its animation time to all of an opponent's low attacks. It also retains its wall juggling concept from Tekken 4, but the element is effectively less easy to abuse and easier to defend against. The home version is a collector's edition of sorts, as it includes the arcade versions of Tekken, Tekken 2, Tekken 3 and Star Blade. Tekken 5 also allowed players to customize their fighter for the first time, allowing them to change the colors of their outfits, buy additional costumes, and equip them with items by using money gained from playing the story, survival, time attack, the side story Devil Within, and arcade battle modes. Tekken 5 includes a beat-em-up minigame in direct lineage to the Tekken Force modes in Tekken 3 and Tekken 4 called Devil Within. This minigame follows the adventures of Jin Kazama as he searches the G Corporation in search for information on his missing mother and other answers. Being somewhat story-oriented, the player is not permitted to use their own choice of characters like previous iterations. The game also uses a limited button system, incorporating a block and jump button as well as sizing down the attack buttons to simple punch and kick buttons. Along with fighting various Jag models in the mini-game, the player must pursue minor key quests to proceed. This mode is one of the two ways to unlock the playable version of Jin's devil incarnation, Devil Jin. As opposed to Tekken 4 where every character spoke either Japanese or English, the developers had some of the characters speak their native languages in Tekken 5. Warang and Baek were given Korean voices while Wang and Fengwei were made to speak Mandarin. Ganruna, Heihachi, Kazuya, Yoshimitsu, Ashoka, Jinpachi, Jin Kazama and his alter ego Devil Jin retained their Japanese voices while Law, Paul, Majuk, Julia, Nina, Anna, Raven, Bruce, Brian, Christy and Eddie speak English. Lee Shaolin and Link Xiao speak Japanese despite being ethnic Chinese. Steve Fox has his own British accent and Lu Wulong speaks American English with an occasional accent. The raised and lowered sections of floors featured in the Tekken 4 levels were removed for the fifth installment. This change made gameplay throughout each stage generally similar, aside from wall placements. In addition to removing the uneven nature of the Tekken 4-styled stages, the design team returned to the style of stages from previous games by having some stages without barriers by allowing them to be infinitely scrolling. For walled stages, the fights take place in fairly symmetrical boxes without any uneven walls. Floors could also crack after one of the characters hit it hard enough. Only one part of a stage can be cracked at a time, however. Other changes over the Tekken 4 design included the removal of the positional change techniques, bringing back traditional air combat and using a juggle system more akin to Tekken 3 as opposed to the fourth game's less juggle-friendly gameplay. The fighters were also forced to remain stationary prior to the round beginning. The single biggest change is Devil Within mode. This is the fourth installment in the Tekken 4 series. Similar to Death by Degrees, Devil Within focuses solely on one playable character, Jin Kazama. This is a traditional platform game in which players must guide Jin through a series of labyrinth-style levels and entire enemy armies. This mode features bosses, such as True Ogre, who is not playable in Tekken 5. The opening loading screen features a few seconds from a video game based on an early 3D Namco Space Flyer Star Blade. Like with Galaga in the PlayStation version of the original Tekken, players can control a spaceship in the demo. Pressing Start prompts Tekken 5 to load. However, this game can be unlocked for full play in Arcade History mode. In addition, players can also play the arcade versions of the first 3 Tekken games. Each game comes with an option to use only the default characters, or use the bosses and sub-bosses too. Console-only characters are not featured. Plot: mere moments after Jin Kazama's departure from the Onmura Dojo, military helicopters approach and begin deploying Jack 4's pods into the building. Heihachi Mishima and his son, Kazuya, are awakened to a squadron bursting through the walls. At first, the two battle the Jacks together as father and son. However, Kazuya eventually betrays Heihachi by throwing him into a group of the androids and escapes. The Jacks hold down Heihachi while one activates its detonator, creating a huge explosion as Onmura goes up in flames. The only witness to the event is Raven, a mysterious agent clad in black, who relays to his command the death of Heihachi and destroys a Jack 4 coming for him while leaving. Heihachi, while managing to survive, is rendered in a coma, and the following day, Heihachi's supposed death is declared all over the world with everyone foreseeing the end of the Mishima Zaibatsu. However, someone else has already taken over the company and business continues as usual. 2 months later, the King of Iron Fist Tournament 5 is announced. Meanwhile, Jin is plagued by nightmares triggered by his devil gene and tries to end it by entering the tournament. His father, Kazuya, deduces that the Jack 4s are sent by G Corporation to assassinate him and decides to enter the tournament so he would be able to take revenge against whoever had sent them. The secret sponsor of the tournament and owner of the Mishima Zaibatsu is finally revealed to be Jinpachi Mishima, the father of Heihachi, who was confined below Onmura by Heihachi after a coup d'état copyright at 30 years ago. However, he was possessed by the devil entity who granted him insurmountable power, after which he broke out of Onmura during the Jack's attacks. Jinpachi, in the last act of morality, announces the tournament in the hope that someone is able to kill him before his potential reign of terror starts. Eventually Jin makes it to the final round and faces his devil-infused great-grandfather in combat. Ultimately, Jin manages to defeat Jinpachi, who dissolves into dust and disappears shortly after, with his wish being fulfilled. Jin, after defeating him, becomes the new head of Mishima Zaibatsu. Characters. The game features a total of 32 playable characters. Most characters from Tekken 4 are returning, including Brian Fury, Christy Montero, Craig Mudjuk, Eddie Gordo, Heihachi Mishima, Warren, Jin Kazama, Julia Chang, Kazuya Mishima, King Tu, Kumatu, Li Shaolin, Lo Wulong, Link Xiaolu, Martial Law, Nina Williams, Panda, Paul Phoenix, Steve Fox, and Yoshimitsu. Like its predecessor, the game also sees the return of several characters from earlier games that previously were cut from the canon series, including Anna Williams, Baek Do-san, Bruce Irvin, Ganrana, and Wang Jinrei. In addition to returning characters, the game introduces 7 new characters, 6 of which are playable: Ashoka Kazama, a hot-blooded high school student practicing Kazama-style traditional martial arts who enters the tournament to take revenge against Feng Wei for having injured her father and destroyed her family's dojo. Feng Wei, an arrogant prodigy of the God Fist style who searches through Japan for information about the scrolls of God Fist. Jack 5, the fifth model of Jak series again sent by his creator, Jane, to retrieve Jak 2's memories from Mishima Zaibatsu, Raven, a mysterious ninja agent who is the first to report Heihachi Mishima's supposed demise. Roger Jr., the wife and son duo of boxing kangaroo Roger, set out to rescue their husband-father from Mishima Zaibatsu, Devil Jin, the devil form of Jin who uses Jin's old moveset composed of his parents' martial arts and also serves as the Stage 8 sub-boss, and Jinpachi Mishima, the father of Heihachi who is resurrected from the dead by the Devil Gene and serves as the unplayable final boss of arcade mode. Returning characters new characters versions Tekken 5.1 Tekken 5.1 is a free upgrade to the arcade version of Tekken 5. It includes changes to the character life bars and character select screen, and some changes in character moves to improve game balance. For example, Steve Fox's Infinite was removed, and a few other strong moves were toned down. Dark Resurrection Available in the version for the arcades, the PSP and the PlayStation 3, Tekken 5, Dark Resurrection is an update of Tekken 5. It was officially announced at the 2005 JAMMAAM show, but news of it leaked slightly beforehand. Unlike Tekken 5.1, which merely tried to balance Tekken 5, Tekken 5, Dark Resurrection adds a host of new content. Music Tekken 5 and Tekken 5, Dark Resurrection feature a large cast of composers, including Akitaka Toyama, Tetsukazu Nakanishi, Yoshihito Yano, Yu Miyake, Junichi Nakatsura, Satoru Kosaki, Ryo Hamamoto, Kiichi Okabe, Ryuichi Takada, Kota Takahashi, Kazuhiro Nakamura, Keiki Kobayashi, Nobuyoshi Sano, Hiroshi Okubo, Go Shiina, Katsuro Tajima, Tetsuya Uchida. Reception Tekken 5 was met with mainly positive critical response. Among these positive responses are the reviews from GameSpot and IGN. Tekken 5 has a score of 89.20% on GameRankings and a score of 88% on Metacritic. Tekken 5 also has a score of 89% on WhatsApp. The game's critical praise was matched with commercial success. As of July 2009, it has sold around 6 million copies. References. External links. Official website, Tekken 5 for PlayStation 2 at Moby Games, Tekken 5 for arcade at the Killer List of video games.